What is up, and welcome to Loose Beats, where our motto is chill out and make a beat. I'm Toby A.K.A. Kushing from the T&D channel. Make sure you check out everything we do. And today, I'm going to be talking about how to start a song. So it's the first step, but also the hardest step, because sometimes you just don't know where to go or what to do. Sometimes you got a melody in your head. So that's what we'll talk about first is if you've got a melody in your head, So this one was kind of one I heard, just a little step, a dun, 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 didn't know what key or anything. And so I went in and started noodling. That's a good place to start, I just started playing around and I try to push myself and try to mix things up. So I started doing some flatted keys, we got this B flat minor, and then it just kind of came together. After a minute of playing, and it felt so classic, it felt so ballady, so I decided to roll with it. And another thing, like even if you start off and you're just like, I don't feel this, I don't like these chords, I don't like how it's coming together, you don't have a song yet, right? You've only picked your chords, so you've got to get past that point. So my advice there would be to, if you're in an A, and just look at a chord wheel, a circle of fifths kind of thing, and you might pick this C sharp minor, and then we've got two chords, we've got a song kind of already. And so I like to find that loop first, whatever our main theme is going to be. We don't know if it's going to be a drop or used as a bridge or a chorus, but we need something to get our juices flowing, So picking those chords, doing them on a simple instrument too is probably helpful, maybe not starting off something wild like a piano or a guitar, something like that, just to get your bass down. And so after you picked your chords, you're going to go in and obviously start building. But another place people get caught up, because at this point, so say we pick those chords out, what do? We add a little drum beat, we pick a tempo, pick our time signature, we pick the style that it's going to be in. If it's going to be in a little different style, we may need to hit those chords in different order or a different way, right? And so we start breaking it down from what we've picked, and we add our bass. But a lot of those things are kind of following whatever our main arrangement is. And so it's kind of hard to take the main arrangement and then actually make a melody over it, or make some kind of lead line or vocals, right? And so a cheat, of course, is to take inspiration in whatever you can find in front of you. So if one comes to mind, playing over it, noodling around, mark that down, you can use that as a vocal piece or a lead line later. But another way, like in this one, we went to a sample. So there's this sample, and it kind of sounds like they're saying be there, is what I think they're saying now. Yeah. And so if you can find something to spark some inspiration, even if that was you, right, you would just go in like, what words when you pick a word, like it really doesn't matter. It can be goofy. You could say pee there. I'm just as an example, because a lot of times the funny things will come to mind first, and then it kind of blocks you up because you're like, no, I don't want this to be goofy. I want it to be serious. But singing pee there might help you figure out your melody. It might get you past the point of being stuck if you kind of go along with it, right? So that could be you. You could make your own samples there to kind of guide your melody and figure it out. But with this one, so I just used a sample, real simple. And the first time I listened to it, I thought it said derailed. You can kind of hear it too if you think about it. Yeah, I'll be right there. And so I kind of started using that as a theme. So once I figured out it was be there, I went back and added to the theme of be there, right? I'll be right there. And then to start the verse off, because I thought it said derailed, I took that inspiration, even though I wasn't using it anymore, to get our first line. Got me so derailed, I just about lost my way. I want to know the details, cause I just found out about it today. It's news to me that I'm in these. And so you see how I'm saying just kind of rolling off of anything, right? Any inspiration or thought you have, kind of play with it and make something good out of it. So even if it's not what you want at first, this song wasn't, and no song is when you first start out. It's just a couple of chords and like two words or something, right? But play off of it instead of running away from the idea that it's not what you want exactly. Uh, so that's kind of what I was thinking on this one. Like, it turned into this ballad, but I wasn't really intending it to, and it ended up being a much more like sweet song, and it just kept growing and ended up in a decent place.
That I'm anything but perfect. Wonder why I let you down in person. I've been stuck inside of verses and inadvertently hurting the people around me that I love the most. But I'm afraid of getting too close, afraid of going too far and not having a place to come back from.
Okay, see, and real quick, you can notice just how you kind of just go with your gut. If you want a wild change, you don't have to follow any chord chart. You can do whatever you want. It's your music, right? So it's fun to go off the walls and get a little weird and odd changes, but you do have to have a home. You have to have a place to call home in some sense for a song. It can be wild in both spectrums, but they've got to fall in line where they are, and so getting through that weird, funny things that come to mind, or this weird block that like you don't know what you want or whatever's holding you back. It's like just do something and maybe you can get past that. But I wanted to show a couple other different types of songs as well, and kind of see how different ways that we started those too. So let's hop over to this one. And let's see what we got inside this. Oh, that comes out in a nice place. Okay, see, that comes out in a nice place. And see, with this one, it's kind of another tactic I'll use as far as like not making a chord structure boring. So with that other one, we started out and we worked through the chord sets, but instead of doing that, we could have worked through them differently, So let's hop on. What do we got down here? An organ, looks like. So on that one, if we're doing that B flat, instead of just hitting the chords as you move, it would be more of like an arpeggiated approach, and it kind of it's another trick to get you past, it sounds boring, is to like quickly switch up either the instrument that it's coming from. Like there's a koto in this, a Japanese koto. There's a stand-up bass. We've got some organ, some kind of lo-fi organ. And so when you get that piano line, you don't have to stick with it. You can switch that instrument up, or you can switch up the way you play. So like an arpeggio, that's kind of a way to arrange that other tune that we listened to, just a slightly different to make it more interesting. You're kind of just running through the scale or just playing the notes in each of the chord changes, but just to get you anything to get you off of thinking that you're not doing it right, or like you need to keep going, because once it's done, you'll realize what you've made. And it normally takes halfway through a song to realize it's any good, to me. But that's a different way to kind of get started. And lastly, we had this one is a little strange. It is more proggy, it's more progressive. And with progressive music, I mean, unless you're a genius, right? And no theory and everything, very well. Oh, shit. Unless you know theory that well. Like when you're trying to write prog, you just want to write something that's moving and expressing yourself as you're playing. So with this one, it was kind of more of an idea of I noodled around for a minute in a key and then just kind of played and really just used that as my entire structure for the song. So I was basically just doing a lead line, kind of working through a basic melody lead line, depending on what you use it for, and based the entire song around it. Had the bass play it, had the piano play it. Everyone's following this kind of abstract movement, which allows you to be more chromatic, which allows you to get off bass a little more. Because everything's following it. It's not sticking to any kind of preset notion, right? If everything's following the lead. And so this is kind of how this one got started. Yeah, so with this one, we went more like, again, just kind of writing a free flowing lead line where you kind of switch up your entire way of playing. You know, you'll throw in a 16th or a 32nd note here and there. And as long as everything's following it, it doesn't matter. You're not having to stick to anything. So that's kind of a cheat for me in making more progressive, like more expressive music. It's just kind of going with your gut and then building around it, you know? And then so about halfway through, we kind of change up this tune a bit. And it gets a little more West Coast. Yeah, so you can see that from there too. That was kind of that different approach of writing. Of like I picked a key and then I just figured out a melody in it. I just played for a minute or two and found an arrangement I liked. Just that. It was just something off the top of your head, right? You kind of just figure out that melody and then structure it around it so you're not having to work too hard. You know, it saves you some time. But anyway, so this was just a couple little tips to get started and start writing. You know, it's like something I want to do more and something people have asked me about. And I just think it's kind of getting past whatever's blocking you up as far as uh, overthinking, right? It must be something like that for me because I tend to write better on my live nights. I do a live stream on this channel on Wednesdays, and for some reason, when the pressure's on and I don't know what I'm doing, you know, I'm kind of coming in completely blank. There's something about, oh, well, fuck it, I got to do something. Let's put it down. And then later we'll change it and we'll arrange it different and we'll change the tempo and we will finally figure it out and flesh it out. Because, like, how many songs do you know that have A and E in them, right? But by you playing A and E and starting a loop around it and then slowly start fleshing out your melodies and ideas and changes and move from there, that A and E is something that no one's ever heard before, right? And so you can't get bogged down on it feels like the same old thing because it won't end up that way. Not if you keep working on it. The only thing that will keep it from becoming that is you stopping. And so, you know, get out there, fucking create, hit me up, collaborate with me, check out everything we do. Check out our Patreon. We got a Patreon where we do have a ton of music shows. We watch movies, all kinds of stuff. I put my music up on Spotify and everywhere under Kushing, including this channel. And we got fucking Real Bird too, where we do some shit, where we got some clothing. And that's our company name. That's our creed. You know, it's a cult because we're making fun of that everything is a cult. We hope to be one of the few things that isn't occultish from the outside, at least. But we love you, and we'll see you soon. Let me know what you thought. And I guess we'll end up going out on this little West Coasty